Okay, so this is the holly and poinsettia kit. This makes 4 ornaments, 2 holly and 2 poinsettia ornaments. You get everything out. You have gloves and glass and leather and beads and baubles and bits and pieces and your ornaments and glass and paint and resin and glue and a brush, and that's your kit right there. It's everything you need. All right, let me scoot some of this stuff out of the way. And we will dust these off because they get kind of dusty. This is obviously real wood, and they do get kind of dusty in here. The bark tends to loosen up on them and all of that. So you can pick which one you want for the poinsettia and which ones you want for the holly. Really doesn't matter because they're all about the same size, and the projects you're putting on them are all about the same size. I'm just going to put a squirt of white paint on here. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you could put it in your cup and then dip in the cup using your brush. So we're just going to use the brush to paint the background on these. And I like to get kind of close to the edge, but not all the way to the bark. Okay, I'm going to give these a quick dry just for the sake of time. And I think I want to do the poinsettias first. So I'll move those into the spotlight there. And you're going to have a lot of interesting pieces of glass in here. I cut all of this myself. Some years I have help, but ever since the pandemic started, I've been doing it myself. And let me just tell you, I did not appreciate my help enough when I had it. Okay, so for your poinsettia, you're going to want to take your leaves, your petals, I guess, and put the center pieces where the point is sticking out. I mean, this isn't that important, but I'm just going to kind of go through here and make a poinsettia. You should have like at least 5 petals for each poinsettia. Okay. So see how all the points are sticking out? Let me do that on this one. And I just dumped this out. All of this stuff was in one bag. Okay. So they're all in one bag, but you can arrange them, play around with how they're arranged, play around with the design, all of that. So let's say maybe I wanted to switch these 2 out. They're not in there in any particular way, okay? All right, then they also have these little green pieces. And I just want to put a couple, you know how poinsettia petals are actually the leaves that turn red, right? So poinsettia petals start out as leaves that turn, and then so underneath the red is green. The green is not usually on top of the red. That makes sense. I just want to include a couple of green pieces in here. You could do as many or as few as you like. You may not want to put any green glass in there, and that's okay too. These are your ornaments to do as you please. Let's see. And that's why you want this paint to be dry, because the more you move it, you're going to get paint on it like I did just then, because mine's not completely dry. I think that's all I'm going to do on that. Well, maybe one more. Maybe I'll do a little one over here. There we go. Okay, so I'm leaving some space in the middle because we have gold and white beads for the center here. You guys, there's so much to choose from here. Almost too much. I'm sorry. It might be overwhelming, but you can put anything you want in here in the middle. Maybe on this one, I want to do lots of gold. Sorry, my arm's in the way, isn't it? And this one I'll do lots of gold. Let me turn this down, this light a little bit. I feel like it might be too bright. Is that helpful? That might be a little bit better. I'm going to do some gold pieces in here. You may even want to spread some of these out. And it's okay if this glass comes off the edge a little bit. You just don't want it to come off too much because it's going to be sharp. And I also included some, I might have gotten that too dark. No, it's hard to measure the light in here. Okay, so you can also use this glue if you want to put, let's say, here's a jingle bell. You want to put a jingle bell right there. This Elmer's glue will dry clear. So I included that because I thought, you know, we might want to balance some things on here. You might want to see, that's why you need the glue, and that's why you want your paint dry. I'm going to cluster some of these little guys in here. These little gold balls. You might have all gold in yours. You might have all white. You might have all different designs and colors. They're all a little bit different, but I promise you they're all really, really pretty. I would want any of them. I'm just filling in these gaps with these little gold balls because I think they're pretty. Oh, can't really see over there. I love these little jingle bells in here. There we go. That's better. Then everything kind of settles down. Okay. Oops, there's glass chunks. Here's another gold. Drop that on there. I just love piling things up on these. I just feel like, you know, I'm always the girl that wants to gild the lily. Y'all know what that means, don't you? Just keep adding. People say, how do you know when to stop? And I say, well, I really don't like to stop. I just keep going. I just like to do it all. Okay, I'm going to move that one out of the way. I think I'm going to do this one in whites. Let's get some white stuff on here. Ooh, this looks like a disco ball. Nothing wrong with that. Nope, that's too big for this one. Slide these out a little. Oh, there you go. That's better. Like I said, it's a little bit like playing Operation, isn't it? Get a little glue on that to hold it. There we go. We'll put that one right here. Maybe add some of these little gold pieces to this one too. I like to fill in these gaps right here with these little ones. This is fun just to play around with, and you could even add, if you had something that was sentimental to you, like a little earring or something, you could add that to these too. That would be a fun little way to personalize this. But you're going to have plenty of stuff left over. And you can use it to make more ornaments if you want. Whatever you want to do. Let me see. I'm just throwing them in there. Okay. I think those are both really pretty. Okay. Let me move these two guys out of the spotlight here and bring in our holly. Okay. Okay, I'm going to dump out this glass. Pull this up a little bit. And you'll just want to arrange this. I included a variety of colors of green, a variety of shades of green, I guess. And again, I kind of like to arrange them so that the wider part is toward the center, but some of these pieces are cut a little different. And, you know, sometimes like this piece, let's say you can't quite figure out how that goes. You can just lay that however you want. It really doesn't matter. In the long run, you're going to see that green and you're going to see the red and you're going to know it's holly because that's how our mind works, right? Tell people all the time, we really just need a couple of clues and it's pretty obvious what something is. It doesn't take much. Let's see. Maybe we'll do this one. See, my paint is still a little bit wet. Make sure your paint is dry, okay? All right, so let's use these balls for the center of our holly. These are really pretty. And you can use your glue again if you want to. Let's see, I think that should go like that. We'll do quite a few here. You can use your glue. Whatever you do, you just want to make sure that everything is dry before you pour resin on it, okay? Try to rotate that around. Ooh, that's really pretty on there. Love that. It's almost a pink. Slide this guy in there. And if you wanted to, if you've got a color that came in your packet for your poinsettia and you wanted to switch that out, listen, like I said, this is your project. You do what you want. If you want white berries on your holly or gold berries on your holly. In fact, I'm going to put some gold ones on here. These do not want to stay right there for me tonight. There we go. I think I'll do some gold on this one. Love this red ball though right here too. You're going to have plenty to choose from. You do not have to use them all, although you might be tempted to. There we go. I'm going to put that gem right in the middle. I have all these little balls that can go on here and fill in little gaps. And I still have some left over from the poinsettia. I just love the way the broken glass and the sparkle of these glittery balls and the iridescence and all of that kind of all comes together. It really screams Christmas to me. Balancing everything in there, right? Because sometimes it feels like a game of operation. When it's all said and done and the glue dries, everything's going to stay in its spot. So after you get everything arranged the way you want it, raise this up a little bit, you're going to take these cups. I'm going to put these back in here so I can use the cups. You're going to set your ornaments up on these cups on your plastic trash bag or your plastic tablecloth. And there we go. And you want to let these dry completely. Do not want any wet paint, and especially you don't want any wet glue when you get ready to pour resin on these. So if it takes a couple of hours or overnight for your glue to dry, then let that glue dry. You do not want anything that's wet on these. However, for the sake of video, I'm going to go ahead and pour resin on these. This is a 2-part resin epoxy. This is made by artists for artists. It has no VOCs, so you can do this in the house around kids and pets. It's not going to hurt anything. It has a very, very slight odor, but it's not dangerous. And you just want to make sure that you wear gloves. So I cut the top off of that, and this is all the safety information if you need any of that. I have been using art resin for 6 years. And I love it. It's my favorite resin. There are lots of them out there, but I just like that I can use this one in the house. First thing you want to do is put on your gloves. You want to make sure that everything is dry and that you have plastic underneath your projects. Then you can take this clip off and slide out that rod, and then you'll have two parts, and you just mix them together. And you want to set a timer for 3 minutes, okay? Definitely set a timer. I've been doing this for 7 years, and I always set a timer. So you're going to need every bit of this resin for these projects. You're going to squeeze away from one of the corners and snip a tiny, tiny piece off that corner. This resin is going to come out kind of fast because it's warm from your hands and all the mixing. And what you want to do is make sure that you pour the resin over the highest points first. So for us, it's going to be these balls, right? That's going to be the very highest part that's sticking up. So you're going to start on that and drizzle your resin down and let it go down in between all of those balls and hold everything together. That's going to be what holds everything together. If you used glue to stack stuff up, which you probably did, you just want to be sure that that's completely dry before you do this part. And you're going to drizzle just on the highest points and move on to the next one. Because like I said, you're going to have just enough resin to do these. So you want to allow that resin to drain down and drizzle down in between all these pieces. And then you can go back and cover up the rest of the board. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and do the glass part. I did the balls first, the centers of everything first. And now I'm drizzling over the glass part. Like I said, this kit has just enough resin to do these 4 ornaments. If you find that some of these are sticking out over the edge after the resin has cured, like I'd give it a couple of days, you can take a nail file or a sanding block and you can sand down the tips that are sticking out over the edge so that they don't poke you, so that nobody gets cut or anything. Okay. So we're just drizzling on the glass now. We're doing all of them together so that we make sure we get everything covered. That's why I'm being so careful about that. You want to do the center and then the petals on all of them. See how this one, we just did the petals in the center, but already, might be hard to see on the camera, already the wood part is almost completely covered. So it just drains down and takes care of that for you. And that way you have enough resin to go over all of it. And if for some reason you see an area that isn't covered, you can take your gloved finger and push the resin there, or I've even sometimes picked it up off of the plastic underneath and dabbed back up onto the art piece if it didn't quite cover, but you should have enough to do that. And then all of these bubbles that are on here are going to really rise to the top, but if they don't, well, not if they don't, they will rise to the top. Art resins are a really good product and their bubbles just kind of float. But if you want to get rid of the bubbles on your own, you can always use a little propane torch, like a little, mine's really covered in resin, like a little kitchen torch, and just zap it and pop those bubbles. Don't hold it in one place because it'll burn the resin, but you just pop those bubbles. You're good to go. All right, so you can take a toothpick and clean out the holes after a little while after they drain down, or you can just wait until they're completely dry, and then you can use a drill and just drill the holes back out again. Use a nail and a hammer and make another hole, whatever you want to do. And then you've got leather to tie to hang them. And don't forget to sign and date the back. And you want to be sure and store these in a temperate environment. You don't want to put them in the attic or garage where it might get hot and cold and hot again. So thank you again for joining me. We'll see you guys again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.